This is another episode of Cubfidential. It's another Tuesday night. It is the late show. It's the latest show we got. You know, it's kind of like Jay Leno or Johnny Carson, but the Cubs version. I am your producer, Mr. Cubfidentiality, and we have a great show. But first and foremost, wanted to address, this is the second straight week JB Ellis is missing. I mean, did he quit on us? What's going on? If anyone has seen, I didn't see his face on the back of a milk box carton. I saw it on the back of a cigarette box. So I want you all, if you're a smoker, to check in your cigarette boxes, cigarette cartons, and if you see his picture, dial 1-800 Sideline Sports. Okay, we're looking for our friend, buddy. Hang in there, we'll find you. So with that being said, let's bring in our host for this week. He is the Rocky Mountain Rebel, Jordan Long.
Hey Jay, how's it going, man?
Hey, going pretty good, man. So something a little different. We're going to be doing a bit of a roundtable thing. You ready?
I'm good to go. I mean, we are the Cubfidential, the best late night Cubs coverage. Hey, we're on a roll, so let's bring in our guests. Of course, Jennifer Matthews Lewis, JB Christner, and Steve Schwanda.
Let me ask this question. Seriously, you use Jay Leno and Johnny Carson with milk and cigarette cartons. Do you want us to have any real young viewers whatsoever?
Hey, some people may know who Jay Leno is, but you're right.
Yeah,
you kind of look like Jay Leno's kid, Jacob.
Everybody's 70 years old or dead. We need a young viewership.
No, Jay Leno, I'll give you the Johnny Carson thing. I mean, you basically, yeah.
That's a little.
I mean, we're not advocating the Marlboro Man. Come on now.
No, but a milk carton. Back of a milk carton.
Oh, sorry, Jordan. Do you know who the Marlboro Man is?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Fourth grade.
I'm not even sure what you guys are talking about.
I was like, Jordan doesn't know who Johnny Carson is. Here's what our viewers.
Hey, and Will's chiming in like he always does. Great to have you along,
Hey,
Will.
Will.
Yep. Hey, Will.
So let's start with, it's been an exciting week. I mean, we had the All-Star break. We came back and we swept the Philadelphia Phillies. Let's dive into this game, or this series, I should say. I mean, Friday, 15-2. I know we were on the chat, and one of you guys said Kyle Schwanda hit a home run. So we were down 1-0.
Yep. Yeah, that was me. Yep. Because at that point you said, I think the Cubs scored a couple after that. It was like 3 or 4-1. And I was like, yeah, and the one that the Phillies scored was by a former Cub. So
it was 5-0.
Yeah.
And then after that, I mean, 15 straight runs. It actually felt good to finally get a win. I mean, the Phillies have had a weird season, let's put it that way. I mean, they look good and then they look bad. They apparently looked bad against us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that reminds me of another team. Us.
Well, here's what I'm saying with the Phillies also. This is one of the things. You just keep getting everybody on the White Sox using the Phillies hot streak to say we need to get rid of Tony La Russa because they got rid of their manager and they got this new guy. And it's like all of a sudden the Phillies are horrible again. And it's like, hello, fans, shut up. Just shut up. Right now, we would take Tony La Russa.
We would, yeah.
Is there anything worse than a team firing their manager?
I don't know if I want to, somebody who's like convicted of DWI repeatedly to be our manager. I'm just saying.
Like 2,800 wins, though. I mean, you can't break that. You can't beat that.
No, you can't unless you get an Uber or a Lyft or a cab driver.
Yeah, it is what it is with him. But then, of course, Saturday, we won 6-2, but we had to go to extra innings. I know we've talked about the extra inning rule a ton on the show. Mm-hmm. At some point, they're going to have to change that. And hopefully, well, exactly. I agree with you. We've all said that. We won 6-2. I mean, it worked out in our favor. We scored, 4-5 in the in that 10th? But still.
But how about a game where the guys 20
usually you don't have an extra inning game where you win by 4.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's usually
the general rule. Like
it's usually a one or two runs. You don't get that much, but it just shows you how poor the Phillies bullpen actually was.
Yeah. And if anybody from Philadelphia or Philly fans are watching or listening at some point or pulling it up at some point, obviously an issue of full disclosure, Bryce Harper's still out, so that kind of hurts their chances. It hurts my fantasy team.
Exactly.
But which is more important, obviously, at this point. And in this point of the baseball season, I care more about my fantasy team because I live in Michigan, so I'm a Tigers fan in the AL and a Cub fan in the NL. So my summer's not great. So yeah.
Well, you know what this is reminding me?
Well, it's my birthday, so I get the Chris Bryant jersey, not you this week. My birthday is a week from yesterday.
One of the things this is sort of reminds me is one thing.
I saw Rizzo hit another home run tonight, by the way. Just out there. Yeah.
One of the things that this is reminding me of, like the after the season deal, is I remember when Bruce Kim came in for the Cubs as a manager years ago, and they got like, I mean, he came in a little bit late after a firing. Then after the All-Star break, they won like 12 in a row, some absurd number. And I mean, I was in those areas where I was thinking, oh my God, they're going to make it all the way back to be like Major League. Oh my God, to be like
I'll be right back, though. I'm sorry.
We're going to have Lou Brown. Yay. And then
Lou Brown, let's go.
And then I think that they lost 7 of 8. Then they ended that.
It's fun when you can say stuff like, oh, they haven't lost since last Saturday.
Right.
I know, right?
Yeah, wow, what a run they're on, but before that they lost 9 in a row. So
yeah.
And that conversation was a lot different on this show. It was more, I wouldn't call it depressing, it was just more, when are we ever gonna win again?
Jen, you got uglier. Oh, it's you.
So
great moments in confidential history.
Right?
Sorry about that. My dog was like barking at nothing, so I went to go get her.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to see
I
the
didn't
pup.
expect a takeover or a StreamYard bomb.
It's all good.
Oh,
Then-
where's your pup? I want to see the pup.
You're getting big.
Hold on.
So then Sunday,
And
we won.
just talking Major League, so I mean, you can completely, we completely can put some, topics. So you're good.
In case you haven't noticed on Confidential, we like to have fun on this show, especially talking about a team that's not going to the playoffs. So we try to have a little fun here.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you have to.
You do.
Because visual aid. This is a long time ago.
Oh, that's the real visual aid right there. There's the real visual aid. Hello.
That's a long time ago.
Hello, pups. What's going
Yeah,
on?
well, it doesn't feel that long
We
ago.
have 2 visual aids right now. We got a
There's the
pup and we have
visual
the 16 championship lineup. Oh, man.
Yes.
No. I was more interested in the other visual aid.
Well, the other visual aid was much more entertaining because this is much more depressing to say that, hey, this is not that long ago, and we had a whole bunch of 20-year-olds, and now none of them are on our team.
Oh.
Well, then we get to Sunday where we won 4-3. I mean, close game. We won that. But if you look at the series as a whole, I mean, 33 hits, 25 runs by us, 10 walks. I don't like the strikeouts. Still 22, far too many. I don't know what's going on with that. Again, and you and I have talked about, Steve and I have talked about this on this show, that if you're just looking at a pitch and not swinging and you're not making contact, you're really not trying. So I don't know what's up with that, but we hit 8 home runs, but of course it's the Phillies. Then pitching wise, we gave up 21 hits, 7 runs, which I'll take, 10 walks, 21 strikeouts, 4 doubles, 0 triples, and 3 home runs. So, I mean, we did pretty well in that series.
Well, let me say this, Jordan. Here's the thing, too. It's the fact that really overall strikeouts in the last few years have just become an absolute epidemic. It's just true. It's like, you've got to remember, we're talking about, this is just the different era of baseball. We're talking about on ESPN, Shohei Ohtani is the next Babe Ruth. He hits like 256. Hits like 256, and he's supposed to be the next Babe Ruth who was like 364. And it's like, but it's like, it is the era where that is what people will listen to. But it's like, to me, I think it'd be more exciting if we got over these ridiculous strikeouts. If people got more discipline at the plate.
Oh, I completely agree. It happens on every team, though, unfortunately, not just the Cubs.
Don't we get to then broach Jordan's favorite topic?
His hats?
No.
Okay.
Jordan, what's your favorite topic?
Barking.
Bad officiating.
Oh yeah,
Angel
officiating. You're right.
Hernandez.
Yes.
You're right.
Joe
You're
West.
right. That is my favorite topic.
That really is
on
your
the-
favorite topic.
I mean, no offense to the, the
Well, they're offensive.
referees, the umpires, but sometimes, yeah, I do get a little bit crazy
Dude, we
with
were watching
them.
We were watching the Andre Dawson meltdown earlier today again. Like, that's just a classic meltdown.
Well, especially watching him chase Eric Showitz into the watching him chase
That was Joe West.
Dugout.
So we're going to keep with the sweeps going. We actually extended our streak today, though we'll go back to Monday or last night against Pittsburgh. I mean, again, this was a really close ball game. Ended up being a 2-run game. I mean, it was a 1-run game. Sorry, 4-3. It was just a close game. But what is with us in Pittsburgh? We seem to have really close games against them, and honestly, they're just as bad as us.
Same team, but it's like we're gonna have our hot streak. Remember, we had a hot streak going a little bit when we beat Boston. It's like the Cubs have the talent. They've got the talent. They've got all that, but they're going to. This is right now. Remember Garpax with the Bulls? You remember with the whole thing, and they had the most unnecessary rebuild that you ever get. And then they went years. They went about 3 or 4 years having to deal with Jim Boyle and everything. We're dealing with that right now. The Cubs are. It's absolutely, completely, and utterly unnecessary rebuild. And it's like, and okay, could it go good? Yeah, but remember when they started rebuilding, they had some wins. They had a division title the year before, even shortened year. That was an unnecessary rebuild. It was just basically because the Ricketts are afraid to lose money.
Well, they're going to continue to get money. I agree with you in that sense, but they're also going to get money from, the marquee network that they have.
Yep.
Major League Baseball also has, TV contracts with ESPN, Major League Baseball Network. What is it, Fox and TBS? So they're going to get some of that money. Yeah, and they also are going to get money because people are still going to go to the ballpark.
Yeah.
Owners in baseball, especially for the Cubs, you're not owning the team because you're trying to make money. If you're good, if you're being good, like you already made your money, like this is just fun for you, basically at this point, right? Like obviously, like you don't own a team, but you don't own a team because you're trying to make money. You make a whole bunch of money, so you own a team. So it's like.
Well, I mean,
with the
Steve,
Cubs,
to your point, they won the championship and they're done.
Anyway, so,
I mean, they won the championship and they're done. And
sorry,
Jacob's favorite Cubs movie.
I just read the
Quit bringing that movie up. Quit bringing that movie up.
Sorry.
Disgustingly horrible movie.
What? Whoa. You watch
Crap. Garbage. Hate it.
God.
Piece of
This is how I know you have no kids. This is how I know.
Well, of course I don't have the kids, but I'll hate it when I have kids. And hey, Jen, go on.
No, because your kids will love it, and you will.
No, they won't. I will make sure.
No one loves the Cubs now.
Shush. I was gonna say a minute ago that to Steve's point, the Ricketts got their championship and now they don't care. And they're going to say they're rebuilding, but they're not rebuilding whatsoever. They're just decimating the team. I kind of am familiar with the scenario.
Yep.
It's called the Carolina Panthers.
Well, and I'm actually familiar with it too, with my AL team. The Tigers. Yes. The Tigers were trying, and you can say whatever you want about the Tigers. The Tigers were trying. It didn't work out, but they were trying everything they could to win a championship before Mr. Illich died. They brought in big name free agents. They once had a pitching staff of Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, David Price, Rick Porcello. Like those were their 4 starters. Like that happened. Like they did everything they could to win a World Series when Mr. Illich was still alive. Mr. Illich passed away. We'll say,
What,
in lack
son?
of a term, it's after 11 o'clock, so we can just say it. His messed up kids took over, and now I don't freaking care. We just want to make money. We're not going to give anybody money. We'll trade anybody who's good for younger kids or prospects or whatever, and we'll just be bad forever, which is basically what it looks like they're doing. But so I'm with you, because that's what they were like. They were trying. It didn't work out. They got to 2 World Series. They didn't win out, obviously, but they were trying to get Mr. I another ring. He died, and then it was like, whatever. Who cares?
Chris Illich is basically the Waltons, the Walmart Waltons. It's like where Sam actually cared about the team. That was his Walmart. He cared about his employees. And then the minute he died, they took away time and a half. They took away stock options, everything. That is what the Illiches are, the young kids.
Yeah. It kind of was a little grossed out because I had to go to Walmart tonight. Not going to lie.
Hey, you weren't in the people at Walmart in the website, were you?
Huh?
You weren't.
No.
You weren't on people at Walmart.
We were about
the
to be
website,
though,
were you?
because there were some trashy people in there. They weren't trying. They successfully, 5 people successfully cut us off, and we're like, what the?
Walmart, in my
That's
opinion,
what I think of your Broncos right now, Jordan.
Walmart
Hey,
Walmart is good for one thing, and that's for you feeling better about yourself. Because
No,
matter,
I don't. I
No
always
matter-
get angry, and I don't like being angry.
no matter
But
how
Wonder Bar bologna is good.
you're lucky you are, there's Walmart to make you feel better.
See, if you want a boring website, do people of Target. I mean,
Yeah.
you couldn't be. You're just gonna have people rolling around. They're all rich and trying to save money.
It's old white women acting stupid.
Shut up.
I actually can't argue with that with Walmart.
You know what? I'm putting myself back on mute so Dum here can't speak.
So we're gonna go back to today's game, and we won 4-2. It was 3-0 after the first. After the first inning, I was feeling pretty good. We let the Pirates score 2 in the 7th, but as I said in the chat, Suzuki hit one almost to Waveland Avenue. I think it came inches from it, but hit the back fence or the light bulb, a light pole that was right out of left field. Almost hit it off to Waveland Avenue. I don't know if we've hit one onto Waveland this year.
Well, that's not a lot of power.
No.
Hey, question. Has anyone ever hit Alton wanted me to ask this. Has anyone ever hit a ball onto Seminary Street?
The closest would be Glen Allen Hill when he hit it on that roof.
Okay. Thank you. Alton agreed with you. He was testing. But I didn't know he was testing. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. So, we swept the Pirates. It feels good to be on a 6-game winning streak. But this actually segues into our next little topic here. With Wilson Contreras. Wilson Contreras basically, I think it was yesterday's game. He basically had a quote saying that after tonight's game, which was last night, I'm trying to appreciate everything that Wrigley Field is. I'm thinking about all the memories that I've had here since 2016. From 2019 until now. Contreras said, it's probably, I don't know, but probably my last homestand with the fans this year. It's tough for me, and it's really tough. That just says he knows the writing is on the wall that he's going to get traded.
Oh no,
he already knows where he's going, probably.
I don't know if he knows where he's going, but
no, he does. He does. He does. His agent's got it. He does.
Yeah,
I think
it was agreed upon.
What, the Mets? Because that's what I've seen. I've seen half to the Yankees.
I see Detroit Tigers.
To the Mets, but whatever.
Pick Atlanta.
Hey, I would love Contreras to the Tigers.
What if it was Atlanta?
It wouldn't help us because we're still bad, but I would love Contreras to the Tigers. But no, I think we saw it on this post, but maybe I get my Cub fan text messages screwed up. But there was a moment. Well, there's a few moments. There was the moment tonight between Happ and Contreras. where they were the last two.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah,
Oh, baby.
last
Come
two.
on.
Yeah.
And Hap will probably be next.
Probably.
Don't get
You
me
know,
started. Don't get me started on that. But yeah, it showed the two of them, hugging and embracing and whatever. And then there was a video of Contreras basically saying to, I think he was just talking to, because I didn't hear background sound, so I don't think he was, tuned into the audience at the at Wrigley today, but from the TV audience of him saying about how I appreciate the fans, I love the fans, like, I thank you so much, I love you so much. We don't know what's coming, but I just want to thank you so much. It definitely sounded like a guy who knows he just played his last game at Wrigley. And as much as I don't like it, actually I hate it, especially in Ian Happ's case. I love Ian Happ as I'm wearing an Ian Happ jersey, as I have an Ian Happ rookie card right here. Like, I love Ian Happ. I get it as a business standpoint, and especially Ian Happ is about to turn 28 in like 3 weeks. August 12th is his birthday. To me, I was like, you're 27 years old right now, about to be 28. To me, I'm like, how are we not investing in this person? But last year, they gave him a pay raise from $681,000 to $6.5 million on a 1-year deal, which to me is basically saying, business-wise, thank you, Taylor, for barking and ruining this segment. Business-wise, is saying, hey, we're not going to be good next year. We're literally signing you for the sole reason of trading you at the deadline.
let me tell you this, though. The biggest issue with talking about his pay raise is the fact that a lot of the idiot Cub fans were getting over him for his struggles that he had in the first place. He had some struggles there. And it's like, and this is why you don't listen to fans ever, because he's come back. But one of the things I'm think about when it comes to a trade like this, and it's absolutely simple, is I think of Freddie Freeman and the whole Casey Close situation. And it's the fact that agents and lawyers run these things now.
Mm-hmm.
They run, because how many times have we heard, like 2 or 3 different times now, that there could be a return by Anthony Rizzo to the Chicago Cubs? We heard these little rumors, and I mean, maybe or may not ever happen, whatever. But here's the thing about this: it's like, if it's that way, it means he did not want to go in the first place. It's like these
absolutely he didn't want to.
No, these agents and these lawyers and everything like that, and the owners, it is all them.
Yep.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It is all them, because look at Freddie Freeman when he was in SunTrust Park picking up his ring, and he was crying. He did not want to leave that place ever. And it's like, the part of the we talk about that we want to see loyalty with these teams, and we don't get to a Mike Trout's.
And the best of both worlds, obviously, if you can do it right.
Mm-hmm.
If you say, hey, we like you.
Yeah.
We want to re-sign you. You like it here. You want to stay here. Great. We're going to trade you to this team for a couple prospects. And then in free agency, we're going to sign you to another deal. Like, if you really wanted to say, hey, I don't want to ever leave here, this is where I want to be, and the team's like, hey, we want you, this is where you want to be, but you're an expiring contract, so we can actually trade you for 2.5 months where we're not going to be very good, get a couple prospects back, maybe they pan out, maybe they don't. Obviously, you never know. That's why it's prospects mean nothing until production. But
this is the era of unrestricted free agency, though. Guess who shows up? Guess who digs in under there? Guess who comes through? The Yankees the Yankees, the Red Sox will get theirs, Cardinals will get theirs, and Cardinals always get theirs. Why do you think they got Paul Goldschmidt? This is
you still have the option to sign wherever the frick you want.
Well,
That's true, but
there's
it's
also
very
a lot of
rare
money.
that's going to happen.
There's also a lot of money.
It'll be for less money, but if you really are you're really serious about doing it, and the team's really serious about doing it, I mean, truthfully, and this is a huge tangent, so I don't even want to say it, but I'll quickly say it. Every pro contract should be incentive based. Every single one should be incentive based, because that is the biggest problem with, I think, baseball contracts more, but a lot of contracts. Teams pay you for what you already have done, not what you're about to do.
That is true.
Hey, let me comment to what's actually about to post on Facebook. Will, there has been a lot of talk about the Contreras brothers playing together. So never say never, baby. Never say never.
I just don't think Wilson Contreras is going to go to Atlanta. It just doesn't make sense.
I mean, I honestly could see him with Baltimore over anywhere else.
Why wouldn't he go to Atlanta?
Because we were talking,
close again.
like, there were rumors about William going up to Chicago for a minute. So,
and then I'm confused with Baltimore because they're last in that division.
And plus, we don't want to make Shearer
just a gut feeling, boys. Just a gut feeling. I called Carolina and I called Boston.
We don't want to make Shearer happy. I mean, you got to realize that. I mean, we're making Shearer happy. We don't want to do that.
That's true. Very good point. Which is, by the way, that's the O show here on the Sideline Sports Network. Yep. But let's go to a little bit of sad news. We saw just this past week that Dwight Smith. He passed, and he was actually with the Chicago Cubs started his career with the Cubs from 1989 to 1990.
Well aware.
Yeah, he was drafted in the third round of the 84 MLB draft. He started out with the Pikeville Cubs of the rookie level Appalachian League. And he worked his way up. And we were watching some clips earlier because I think I mentioned that, like, my father-in-law is a huge Cubs fan and a huge Orioles fan. And
that could happen. Never mind.
He grew up in Baltimore, and in North Carolina, all you could get was the Cubs.
I looked for a second. I was like, oh, it's baseball. You could be an AL and L team without any problem.
Yeah, absolutely. We were watching the 89 game where Smith came up to bat and won the game after they'd been down 9-0. And I don't know if y'all remember
Astros. It's the Astros.
Yeah, it was the Astros. Yep.
I watched that game.
He died of a respiratory infection. I think that's
congestive heart failure. Congestive heart failure.
Yeah, with a respiratory infection too, right?
Yep. And no, you know something? When I saw that first, it said 58 years old, and they said Atlanta Brave. It said I'm in Atlanta, so I get the they say former Atlanta Brave. See,
right.
You don't know what worried me. I thought it was going to be Marquise Grissom, who the reason I brought they're on the same age, but the reason I brought that up is because I actually when I was dressing people at a Men's Warehouse, I met him. I met him.
Really?
And I was helping, Marquise Grissom. Yeah, I met him and helped with his nephew, and he has this whole thing, and we had a really great conversation. Great guy, and he got to see what I could do with clothes and everything, which is awesome. But I was really actually worried about that because I like that guy a lot. But it was still hurt. See, it really hurt to see Dwight Smith like this because we look at the amount of people in the last couple of years that we've lost in their 50s. In their 50s, and it's like, I mean, we remember Darren Dalton with brain cancer. We've seen this, Dwight Smith. Now we are just losing a lot of people. I don't know if there is a certain thing with if there's something in the air with the here's another theory. You're a top quality athlete, then you stop working out that much.
Yeah, you do.
It's not even you stop working out. You have to remember when you're an athlete to that level and to that extreme, Steve knows this better. You're putting so much more mileage on your body. Mm-hmm. Simone Biles most recently said, I'm 20. How old is she? 22. I'm
Yeah.
22, but I literally have the body and the aches and pains of a 50, 55-year-old person.
I mean,
And
I
she's in
worked
great
out.
health, but yeah, it happens because you're doing all that strain on your body your entire life.
I worked out one of them is about to be a freshman in college. The other one's about to be a senior in high school. They're both about to, they're both committed to play college basketball. I worked them out for 90 minutes tonight, earlier, and my son was with me. My 11-year-old son was with me, and I looked at him during part of the workout, and I just let him know. I was like, just so you know, this is what excellence looks like. It's July 26th. It's 85 degrees.
Oh, I wish.
In this barn, I know. Yeah, I know. In Michigan, it was 85 degrees.
Your ceiling fan's blowing hot air. I can guarantee you that right now.
In this barn that we're working out in with this hoop, right?
Yeah.
And these kids are putting the work in. I was like, this is what excellence looks like.
Yeah.
Why? And one of them's going to Michigan Tech, which is a Division II school, and kids don't understand. Like, oh, D2, I can play D2, I can play D3. I'm like, no, you can't.
No, you can't.
But you know, you can still get drafted from a D2 school.
You do not stand, right?
You can't play. Tell them you can't play JUCO.
And the other one, in Northern Iowa, which is a D1 school, and he's already won a state championship. He played up in AAU and the EYBL circuit for years. But whatever. But that's why I wanted to show my son. That's why I wanted to bring him with me. I was like, this is what work means. Like, this is what it means. Like, if you want, because he's like, why don't you ever coach me in basketball? I was like, I'm about to show you. Like, you're about to be in 6th grade. I'm not trying to do that to you. Like, you want to play basketball, have fun. Like,
hey,
exactly.
Hey, Schwanda?
Same thing, moving forward is like, it's always classic that obviously none of us can understand, obviously, the scope of a professional athlete, right?
No.
Actually,
I no offense, you guys.
Jen.
I think Steve, I think you and I, out of this group, would be the two most likely to understand the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
No offense to you guys. Just
No,
I was a competitive swimmer my entire life, college scholarship, all that. Steve has played, been around it, coached it, like he knows. So I think you.
But actually,
no offense to you guys.
Jake's the state's offense.
Jake.
Yeah.
I mean,
good.
I'm a Tigers fan, but I still saw it. Jacob Turner posted a great Twitter feed today about it, actually, because he was like, hey, at 18, I was a can't miss prospect. I got $5 million. Like, this is what it actually means. And he had a great thread about it because, like, hey, at 18, 19, I'm a can't miss prospect. At 23, I could barely hang on in the league, right? So understand, in baseball especially, right? Like, I have a friend, and his son, I won't give names, but it doesn't matter. His son is a very good pitcher, throws like mid-90s. He's really good. He went to the MLB Combine. Every team wanted him, talked to him, but he already committed to Notre Dame. He wanted to go to college. He wants a degree.
Mm-hmm.
So he basically told him, like, hey, I have a number. If you're going to reach that number, then draft me. We'll talk. You don't want to reach that number? I'm going to go to college. So he even though he went to the Combine, he talked to all the teams. He did all the stuff. Like, he effing killed it. Like, he's really, really good. And I'll say it. David Lally Jr. You're going to hear his name in 3 years. Thank me later. He's going to go to Notre Dame. And he's going
Why can't you give me stock tips like that? Come on, Steve.
He's going to go to Notre Dame. He's going to kill it. And he's going to be a high draft pick. But he wanted to go to college, which is fine. I mean, nothing wrong with that. Do what you got. It's your decision. Do what you got to do.
I find it interesting that Major League Baseball, I mean, a lot of sports are like this too, except for hockey, where if you're drafted, you have to go there and you can't go to college. While in the NHL, what do we see? We see a lot of these prospects playing college hockey to get their, game a little bit better.
Yeah.
I just find that very
Hey guys, I'll
interesting.
be right
that you
back.
have
I'm straight to interrupt.
that you have to make a choice between going to college and playing pro baseball. I find it very interesting.
Dave, here's the thing. There is a reason your kind of stuff that you talked about. I see you've been coaching at a deeper level than I've been, but I know I could. See, you have to understand this though when I bring this. There's a reason I created Pundits Pundit. What you said, the things that you talked about. Because I'm tired of pundits and I'm tired of fans. I'm tired of the attacks. I'm tired of people not knowing what they're talking about, what excellence is. Those are the reasons I bring up making a show like Pundits Pundit. And you've watched my topics. You've seen my shows. You've watched my topics. Some of you, Jordan. There's a reason I don't talk meathead garbage.
Yep.
There's a reason. It's because I am sick and absolutely tired. Not only do the fans talk it, but ESPN raises it.
Yep.
They don't.
You post one good video, and someone's like, "Oh, that's a D1 talent for sure." I was like, "Well, he's actually going Division III, but I mean, whatever."
They do it all the time on ESPN.
People and that's the thing. People think that, oh, I made varsity as my senior year. I can play in Division III. No, you can't.
No. You want to know what you should do? You want to
can't.
Here's the thing that you should do. I'll give you an example, Steve, and I'm sorry about this, Jordan. Here's the thing that I am going to say this. I remember one time I was 15 years old. It's a quick thing what my dad did. I laughed at the idea of a flagman, on the construction site.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I laughed at it. Dad just gave me the little smirk, that kind of thing. Next day I'm on there. And he puts me around a curve so I can't see the other flagman. I nearly caused about 60 wrecks. I'm 15 years old, and this is not a brain surgery job, but it's like everything is complete. I thought he was going to kill me. All he does, not easy, is it? And so here's what I'm going to use my version of what he gave me. I'm going to tell this to you right now. Just say the ones that say, "Oh, I can play D1, D2, whatever," blah blah, and laugh at it. Instead of going, "No, you can't," blah blah. You want to know what you do? Say, bring him to a JUCO.
Yep.
Bring him to a JUCO. Bring him to a little bitty school, just the littlest school whatsoever. Watch him get smoked.
Yep.
When you know it, do that. Do what my dad did with me. Construction site. Do that.
And in basketball, I can't speak for other sports because I don't follow the recruiting as well as I do basketball. JUCO in basketball is usually super talented. They just have
grades. They don't have good grades.
They have grades or other issues, right?
Yeah.
But D3 is like, people are like, "Oh, it's D3. I can play D3.
No. There's no.
No, you can't. Like,
all D3 is no scholarship.
I can tell you a two-time in Michigan, a two-time Class A, which is the highest class of Michigan, a two-time Class A all-state player, went to the state finals her junior and senior year, is playing Division III, and didn't play as a freshman. Like that, it's such a
D3 is no scholarships. It's the only difference.
I try to take it with a grain of salt because I try to remember, which is hard as a fan, right? You try to remember, listen, this is hard. But as a fan, you're like, well, we won in 2016. All of our guys are young. We should win 3 of the next 4. But it's hard. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Everybody gets paid. Everybody's a professional. Everybody's the best of the best. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It really is. So let's move on to this Cubs for you. We had many choices, but we decided to go with our 2 All-Stars, Ian Happ and Wilson Contreras. I know what
there's a drunk Steve right there.
Yeah. It was me calling my phone. I apologize. Sorry.
We all know how Steve feels about All-Star games, and I get it. It's for the entertainment. It's an exhibition. It's for the fans. You don't get a whole lot out of it other than watching it. I think I watched maybe 4 innings of the All-Star game. But if you look at our 2 All-Stars,
That's by the way, 4 too many. 4 too many.
There was nothing else on. I mean, what else was I going to watch? But if you look at it, Ian Happ and Contreras played. Happ entered the game in the 6th. Contreras was in there to start the game. He didn't do anything. Contreras, I think, had 2 at-bats, didn't do anything. Happ had 1 and walked. But this week, though, because they are our this Cubs for you. If you look at it, Happ had 23 at-bats. I know it was not a shortened week. 23 at-bats, 9 hits, a batting average of .391. He collected 2 doubles and 4 RBIs and scored twice. So he was one of our this Cubs for you. And then Contreras, unfortunately, this may be the last time you'll hear his name on this show. Maybe even Happ as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
well.
No, I just real quick. So that I know I'm not on here every week because 11 o'clock is really late for me when I wake up at 4:15 in the morning. But this one I especially wanted to get on. Now, yes, I love Ian Happ. This is an Ian Happ Cubs t-shirt jersey. He's always been my Cub. Well, not always, but for a while he's been my Cub. But I made these 2 this Cubs for you for one specific reason. If you live under a rock and you don't know, the MLB trade deadline is August 2nd, which if you can't look at a calendar, that's next Tuesday. The Cubs are about to be on a road trip. Thank you, Taylor. So tonight was their last home game before that. If you didn't watch tonight, Contreras got a great ovation. And Contreras and Happ had a very emotional, we'll say, hug in the dugout, which of course was captured because it's 2022 and we have phones everywhere and cameras everywhere and all that stuff. And let me quickly say, I get it. I do understand professional sports, as much as we don't want to believe it as fans, because the longer version of fans is fandom or fanatic. Right? Fanatic, right? So we don't want to believe it. But in its smallest, simplest form, sports is a business. Sports is trying to make money. Mm-hmm. So we can hate it, but let's be honest, we're still going to watch. So yes, I have this Ian Happ t-shirt jersey right now. Ian Happ is my Cub. I've already showed this once today. Here's my Ian Happ Bowman Chrome rookie card, right? Like, I love Ian Happ, right? But you know what? I'll show it just because it's right here. Before Ian Happ, Derek Lee was my Cub. Because he hit a grand slam my first game at Wrigley. So I guess I'll just say it while we're here. You guys can all yell at me or in the comments.
We're not going to yell at you.
I did not like baseball growing up. I played soccer and lacrosse. I didn't like baseball. I got to college. I slowly started to like baseball. All my roommates like baseball, blah, blah, blah. So like 2002 or 3 or so.
We're sorry.
I went to Wrigley. And Derek Lee hit a grand slam home run that game, and that was pretty much it. So Derek Lee was my first baseman in fantasy baseball until he retired. I was all in. I was down. So, like, I understand, and I know it's a business. Don't get me wrong. I'm not happy about it. I expect Ian Happ to be traded because it's probably the smartest decision for business.
Where do you think he's going to go?
Well, I know the reports are him to the Yankees and Contreras to the Mets is the latest report. For a while, I heard that there were teams that were shopping to get both of them. But I feel like, I'm hoping, knock on wood, I'm hoping the Cubs were like, if you're getting both of them, you're giving us like 2 major league ready players and like 4 prospects.
That's the only way a trade's going to work if you're going to
Right?
trade both of them.
But I mean, seriously. So I'm hoping that that's what happened, and then people are like, "Oh, I can't give you that, so we're not going to get both of them."
I can't
So
see that. I
Yeah.
can't see the major league players because they're just going to be gone. It'll be a rental. The Cubs just are not ready. They're not ready for the thing, but they're just going to leave.
I can't argue with that either.
I just wish I understood the thought process.
The thought process is you're trying to, well, at least in my
money.
mind, well, save money, but you're also trying to give them a chance to go to a winning team to do something special in the postseason.
Well, you want to give them a chance to go to a winning team and do something special, but I think as an organizational standpoint, the worst thing they can do is make them walk for nothing.
Right.
Like even if it's a prospect that doesn't pan out, which let's be honest, prospects don't pan out all the time. That's why they're called prospects. Well, they're called prospects. You at least have to try, right?
For sure. You got to get something back.
Let somebody walk for nothing.
That's the worst idea because
That's the worst thing you could do. Because if you get a prospect back for him, even if that prospect is bad and that guy that you traded was on.
He passed out.
Where did he go?
Passed out.
I don't know.
No, but
where he went.
Let me bring the part.
Like,
here.
did Starry do that? Like
he
she
prob-
just took down out and sit down.
He brought up something. This is a business. Fans complain, fans whine, fans all that stuff, but they're going to come back. This is the point I keep trying to make on my shows.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you remember what I said, Jen? You remember what I was saying that I said that the Bears listen to their damn fan base way too much. You said that you wish they listened to yours. Your team did. Remember when you said that? The thing is, this is the issue about me with the whole thing with fans. Quit listening to them because they're going to complain. They're going to pretend. They're never going to come back. They do anyway. They want their entertainment. You got to quit this. They got to quit this whole thing because they will see. The one thing I give the Cubs credit for is they didn't get rid of Happ when he was 164.
True.
And the fans were just whining ridiculously, and luckily the Ricketts did not listen. There are teams that just constantly listen. Quit. The Bears are one of them. Quit listening to fans. Ignore them. They will come. They will always come.
That's true. I mean, they'll do it on talk shows. They'll do it on the boards. I mean, you're right. Fans are thinking they run the show. They don't.
Well, they seem to run the Bears show because it keeps happening. Their crap keeps happening.
So we're going to move on to 1989, a year Jacob remembers fondly. I mean, Cubs won the National League at East, but I mean, it's interesting to think they were in the East because now they're in the Central, but it has to do with the fact that divisions were all different.
Yes,
but we know that prior to this, the Cubs went to the playoffs in 1945, lost the World Series, and we know that was the start of the curse of the Billy Goat, lost to the Detroit Tigers. Of course, then, 1984, they went to the playoffs, lost to the Padres. But if you look at it, there were only 4 teams that earned a playoff spot in 1989. And baseball actually expanded in 1994 when we have the 3 division that we have today. And of course, they added a wild card team in 95. But going into that 1989 season, the Cubs hadn't been doing well. They finished 77-84 in 1985, 23 and a half games behind St. Louis. In 1986, 70 and 90, the Mets ended up 37 games ahead of them. And it's just a crazy number. But again, we only had 2 divisions.
Wasn't Jerome Walken in 89?
What, Jerome Walton? Yeah, rookie. I believe he was rookie of the year.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah.
So then in 1988, Mets won again with a 160 record. Cubs ended at 77-85. Looking at 1989, though, they had a great lineup. I mean, Mark Grace, I liked him as a Cub. Ryan Sandberg, Dwight Smith, and Andre Dawson. So, I mean, you had a pretty stacked lineup. And of course, Greg Maddux, who ended up winning, let's see, he won 19 games that year. And with an ERA of 2.95, of course, second in the Cy Young voting.
Well, you know something, though. The biggest thing about that year by itself is the fact that that team was what 87 should have been. They were what 1987 should have been, because 1987, Andre Dawson wins the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
He wins MVP, but it's on a 76-win team. And it's like, and those were the biggest issues with that team. Is they just could not keep pitching. One of the things that 89 team had was a bullpen. It's like that 87 team should have won a division. They got last place. And it's like, and they were a better team. I mean, they had some. That team could have. See, really, there were some teams for the Cubs. That infield alone should have had like 3 or 4 division titles. That infield alone, you had Grace, you had Sandberg, you had Dunston, you had the outfield with Dawson. You had there was a. I mean, you go back to even before Dawson, you go Gary Matthews, you get Keith Morrow on third base. They had some people that could rake year after year. They just could not keep pitching. So 89 was what 87 should have been.
And then you look at in the playoffs, they actually lost to the Giants. Actually, this was, I mean, the stats are going to say they lost 4-1, but it was actually a closer series. The only game they won was game 2, which was 9-5, lasted 11-3, but games 3, 4, and 5 could have gone their way. Only lost by a run in game 3, 5-4. Game 4 defeated by 2 runs in game 5, 3-2. So if you look at it, this could have been a lot closer series, but the Giants go on. They were swept in the World Series. So, I mean, you look
and
at
had
that,
a little earthquake in the middle of that World Series, too.
That is true.
Andre Dawson versus Canseco and McGuire would have been something. That would have been something.
That would have been something.
That'd been beast.
So let's go on to Cub or Dub. Unfortunately, we're talking about Wilson Contreras getting possibly traded, but could he return via free agency if we trade him?
Yes. Because he loves the Cubs. And he
No.
loves the fans. Like when you have
When he
home,
had Rizzo.
when you have home, you have home.
Nah. Rizzo wanted to come back and he couldn't. I don't think so.
We just said Rizzo might be coming back still.
But we talk about it in rumors all the time, but he just hadn't come back. Like,
I do think Contreras would come back.
I'm going to say Dub. I mean, here's how I look at it. I'm going to use a guy we had as a closer in 2016, Chapman. We traded a lot of prospects for Chapman. What did he do once we won the World Series? He went back to New York. So it's really hard, I think, to go back to a team. It's not to go back to a team that traded you. Yes, Contreras loves the city, but if he goes out and let's say he goes to a team that actually goes far in the playoffs and actually has a chance next year, would he really want to come back to a team that's rebuilding with the Chicago Cubs?
Or do you go to the White Sox? Or do you go to the White Sox, who are pretty cooked?
Well, I don't think it's just the city he loves. Think about his statement. I mean, it's the fans. It's Wrigley Field. Sure, the ownership sucks ass. But we all sometimes have crappy bosses. I'm fortunate I have good bosses. But again, Will, gonna disagree with you. Never say never.
We don't know. Well, if Rizzo becomes a free agent, I don't know how long his contract is in New York.
Right.
It is possible for players. I'm going to use Shannon Sharp for an example. Went to the Baltimore Ravens for 2 years, came back to Denver. So it is possible. I know that's football, and this is a baseball show. It is possible that if you go to another team, you can come back, to play your final years out. I wouldn't say no to Rizzo or Contreras, but I just think as of next year, I don't see Contreras coming back.
I'd love to see Hobby come back personally.
Well, then the thing is, if you do it, make it sooner. The reason I say is I remember when Moses Malone made his way back to Philadelphia for 1 year after all those years of his knees going bad, and he comes back, and he literally comes back. It's like 3 to 4 points a game. Like, this is not and it's like, if you're going to come back, do not come back way beyond your prime where people are going to have these hopes, and and then they're just going to see you are in a shell of yourself. And that's the big thing. So you got to do it sooner or don't do it at all.
I mean, the worst case scenario is he signed. I don't know if baseball does this, but I know a lot of other sports do. He can sign a one-day contract saying, "I'm going to retire as a member of the Cubs." That's another option for him.
Yeah, I think you can.
Time for that.
Can you do that, Alton?
You can definitely do that, but it's not
You
time
can.
yet.
But he's saying it's not time for him to retire yet. But yeah.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying if he goes on to another team and doesn't come back to Chicago, he can certainly retire and say, "Hey, I'm going to retire as a member of the Chicago Cubs." I'm just saying if he doesn't come back. So I guess that wraps up another week of Cubfidential. Why don't we go around to say where we can find us and follow us? We'll start with Jennifer first.
You can find me on 3 Chicks in a Pod, along with my girls, Carrie Johnson and the Queen of Hoops, Miss Megan Price. That's Tuesday nights at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Obviously, Cubfidential. On Thursday nights, you can find me with Mr. Pundits Pundit himself, Mr. JC.
You will. Welcome back, by the way.
Thank you. And that's on Thursday nights. This Thursday night, I'm going to be pulling double duty. I'll be on the Queen of Hoops Sip Off. It's our 50th show, or 50th or 90th. I forgot which one. But so I'm going to be on there. Sorry. So I'll be pulling double duty. Then on Basket Bros, I produce Basket Bros with Jordan and Will, Dom, and Mr. Cubfidential producer himself, Denzel, and Dom DeRobis. And then you can also find me during basketball season on the NBA Carousel and on Thursday nights during the NFL season on NFL Carousel.
We didn't need to see that there, Jay.
No, we didn't. Well, that was funny that Mr. Confidentiality decided to show up for a moment. So
Show back up, Jay.
Jacob, tell us where they can find you and follow you.
All right. On Monday nights during the season, Megan Price's the NBA Carousel. Tuesday nights here. Thursday nights, the Pundits Pundit with Jen and Jay. And we have a special pro wrestling show on Thursday night. And we have that. Sunday's Basket Bros and a special report to you folks. I will be in Des Moines, Iowa for the Iowa Cubs with the thing with the Iowa Cubs for for Sideline Sports with Cubfidential. I will be there in Des Moines on September 17th. So I just wanted to do that first little promotion. And there's other news too, but I will hold off until later.
So for me, you can find me on Twitter at SportsScoop1. I'm on the NBA Carousel on Mondays during the NBA season, the NFL Carousel representing the Denver Broncos on Thursday during the NFL season. I'm
Yay.
also don't you go cheer for Coach Nagy.
No.
You can also find me on my blog that I write Mondays through Thursdays at sports-scoop.com with podcasts on Friday. And I also have my own show on the Sideline Sports, which is under review, which is basically Colorado sports with a mix of national sports headlines as well. I had Will Vogel. I'm hoping to have Jen here on this week. We got to figure out a time for that. But anyway, thank you for watching Cubfidential, the best late nights.
To keep Jen, you got to boo the Carolina.
Okay.
Keep pounding, baby. I don't care if Roland Tepper wanted to go away. The fans will keep it. Keep pounding.
So thank you for watching Cubfidential, the best late night Cub show here on Sideline Sports Network. We have shows every single day. You heard about 3 Chicks in a Pod, which I highly encourage you to watch that. Pundits Pundit. Great show, not all about sports, which is nice to see, just talking about the real issues out there, as well as the Basket Bros. I mean, it takes me back to my childhood every time I watch it. But please subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of them. I'm Jordan Long for everyone here on Cubfidential. Have a great night, and we will see you next week.
Take care.